All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Mrs. McCluster, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Barber.
Here.
Mr. Blackstock.
Present.
Mr. Davis.
Here.
Mr. Farmer.
Here.
Dr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Scares.
Here.
Mr. Warren.
Here.
If you would, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. If you'll stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any items to be added to the agenda this evening?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add 2 items to the agenda. Make a motion that we add the following items to the agenda as items 13N and 14C. 1, Pittsylvania County Community Action Board appointment. Mr. Miller is currently on the board and term is 1 year, reappointed annually as item 13N. 2, Danville, Pennsylvania County Community Services Board. Warren currently Board Supervisor member on the board. He is eligible for 1 more term from the dates of 7/1/18 to 6/30/21. So item 14C.
Is there a second to the motion? Second. All in favor of amending?
Yes, sir. Can you tell me what 14C was again?
Community Services Board. Danville, Pittsylvania Community Services.
We have C at the top and G at the bottom.
Yeah, it should be.
I'm happy to serve on that, but I thought that they had a deal where you can only serve a total of 6 years.
It's not. You are eligible
Okay.
for 1 year.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That was my only question.
Jim Bebo sent me an email today that said that you could serve 1 more term.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor to amend the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. All right, now we need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda with the amended items.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and like sign. Chairman election. It shall be the chairman's duty to preside at all board meetings and maintain the orderly conduct thereof. He or she shall sign all voucher warrants of the county, and when the board is not in session, he shall provide policy guidance to the county administrator and the county attorney. The chairman shall continue to be a voting member of the board. Are there any nominations for the position of chairman of the Board of Supervisors?
Mr. Smithman,
Yes, sir.
I would like to place into nomination the name of Ms. Joe Davis.
Any other nominations? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to place the name for Elkin Blackstock.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, the nominations are, wait a minute, do I have to get a second on that, Fred? On the nominations? Do I have to get a second
you
on that?
close it.
Just close the nominations.
Yeah.
So we'll do a show of hands for each nominee. Dr. Miller's nominated Mr. Joe Davis, and by signifying of hands, those in support of Mr. Davis as chairman, please. Dr. Miller, Mr. Davis, Mr. Scares, and Mr. Warren. All those in favor of Mr. Blackstock as chairman, please. Mr. Farmer, Mr. Barber, and Mr. Blackstock. Mr. Davis has the majority votes, and I will turn over the meeting now to Chairman Davis.
Now we need to make a motion, have a motion from the floor for vice chairman. Do we have any nominees?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we elect Supervisor Tim Barber as vice chairman of Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we elect Dr. Charles Miller as vice chair.
Okay, all of those who are in favor of Mr. Tim Barber being the vice chairman, raise your hand. 3, that is. And those that are in favor of Dr. Miller being the vice.
Let's hold those up one more time. Okay. Okay.
Those in favor of Dr. Miller, raise your hand. Our next item on the, you got all that? Next item on the agenda is board bylaws and rules of order of adoption. Number A is adoption of board bylaws.
There's only been one change, and that's highlighted on page 7 of your packet. In the new sections, that is 4.5. So, if you desire to include that, you would just make a motion to adopt the board bylaws as presented. If you don't, you can take that out. But any other changes would have had to have already been given to you, notice to you 10 days in advance. So it's the board's pleasure.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we accept the bylaws with the amendments.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Raise your right hand. Passes. Number B, on the number 9 item of the agenda, adoption of Robert's Rules of Order.
Mr. Davis. That's so moved.
Mr. Miller makes the move. Would you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Passes. Number 10, set the date and time of regular board meetings. Proposed 2019 meeting schedule. What's the nature of the board?
Chairman, I make a motion we accept the proposed meeting schedule.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, Helen, I would assume they're still the third Tuesday each month. I haven't
All
checked
with the
these.
exception of 2.
Okay.
There was a memo sent out, and there are 2 months, which I believe March and May, if I remember correctly, that there were scheduling conflicts with key staff, with other work-related issues
But
during
other
that
than
time.
that-
Other than that,
Yes,
they're
and
good.
it still does allow ample time for advertisement and all of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is March, and what day?
May. Those are the second Tuesday. All the rest are the third Tuesday.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of adopting the proposed 2019 meeting schedule, raise your right hand. Carries. You vote, Mr. Barber? Okay, second. All right, number 11 on the agenda, standing committees. They are, as board appointments from the chairman is Finance Insurance Committee, Ron Scarce is the chairman, Dr. Charles Miller, Ben Farmer, Bob Warren. Personnel Committee, Joe Davis, chairman, Ben Farmer, Dr. Charles Miller. Property Building Committee, Mr. Barber, Tim Barber, chairman, Elton Blackstock, Dr. Charles Miller.
I'm sorry, which one was that, sir?
Property Building Committee.
Okay.
And Carolyn will summarize all this and shoot you out a memo tomorrow, so you don't have to frantically write unless you want to.
The Legislative Committee, Ben Farmer, the chairman, Ron Scarce, Tim Barber. And number 12 on the agenda, item number 12, special committees, Solid Waste Committee, Bob Warren's the chairman, Ron Scarce, and Ben Farmer. Computer, Radio, Telecommunication, Elton Blackstock's the chairman, Ron Scarce, Ben Farmer. School Board A Liaison, Dr. Charles Miller, the chairman, Tim Barber, Elton Blackstock. Fire and Rescue Committee, Ron Scarce, the chairman, Dr. Charles Miller, and Bob Warren. Economic Development, Bob Warren, chairman, Ron Scarce, Tim Barber. Animal Welfare Facility, Elton Blackstock, chairman, Tim Barber, Dr. Charles Miller. Agenda item number 13, other chairman appointments. Danville, Pittsylvania County Regional Industrial Facility Authority, nothing changes there. Bob Warren, 4-year term, Ron Scarce, 1-year term, and then Elton Blackstock, the alternate. Stanton River Regional Facility Authority, Elton Blackstock, primary, Ben Farmer, secondary. Dr. Charles Miller, alternate. Pittsylvania County Planning Commission, Dr. Charles Miller. The Association of Counties, Joe Davis. Metropolitan Planning Organization, Ron Scarce, Ben Farmer, Charles Miller. SARA Title III, Mr. Ron Scarce, County Administrator. Pennsylvania County Social Services Board, Bob Warren. Roanoke River Basin Association, Dr. Charles Miller. Dan River Business Development, Joe Davis. West Piedmont Planning, Ben Farmer, Ron Scarce. Fire Rescue Emergency Medical Advisory Committee, Mr. Ron Scarce. Local elected official, Joe Davis. Tri-County Lake Administrative Commission, Ben Farmer. I know I've got to come back to that. Agenda number 14, full board appointments, are community policy management team. That's Mr. Ron Scarce. And these others that were mentioned, such as N, that Mr. Blackstock brought up, we need to. Community action. Well, I have Dr. Miller for that Community Action Board. Community Services Board, Dr. Miller, he gets the wonderful opportunity to serve in that educational as well.
Let's back up to 14A. The whole board needs to vote on 14A, so can we just do a motion to?
Is that the one where you said I had 3 more years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we can.
No, that's CPMT.
No, this is
No, that's wrong.
This is Ron Scarce, CPMT. You're wrong. That's the one that you're currently on, right?
Oh, yeah.
See, Richard Hicks is the chairman.
That's right, Richard's the chairman.
So we just need a motion, a second, and just a show of hands, please.
What are we voting on?
14A to appoint Ron Scarce as the board member to the CPMT, the Community Policy Management Team.
I'm making a motion.
It's good, Kurt.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by your right hand. All right, what was the second item, sir?
Have you gotten you need to pick up,
Number 13N,
yeah.
correct? That's correct.
13N, that's just your appointment, not the board. Then you need to go and pick up 14C, which is Danville, Pittsylvania County, Community Services Board. That's, the whole board has to vote on that one. That'll be 14C.
So what's the name of that board on for number N, the number?
That's the Pittsylvania County Community Action Board, and I believe that's going to be Dr. Miller if you so choose.
Okay, well, so we have that. He's in place.
Those are the two items.
So we need a motion to appoint someone to the Community Services Board. Mr. Warren's been serving for 6 years.
So we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Mr. Warren to the community service.
We have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Palmer. All in favor? Is there any discussion first? Anybody want to discuss this? All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. Right. Thank you. Is that it, Counselor, as far as the nominations, the
Yes.
places? All right, item number 15 on the agenda is matters from the board. Do we have any matters from the board? Mr. Blackstock, hold on, I would do, if you don't mind. Mr. Blackstock, you have any? Mr. Barber, I apologize, you were first.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hunt's aware of the situation. We had a situation come up, somebody passed away in December. They'd already paid their property tax. 3 days later, they got a bill for to back it up, pay the whole amount. He got the
Elderly
reduction
and
for the elderly, and the family was very upset. And Mr. Hunt's been looking at this issue. There is some changes we can make as a board that makes common sense, because they're not happy. 3 days after the man died, they sent him a bill,
And he's already
full
paid.
amount.
The state code and our local code allows Shirley, Ms. Hammock, to do what she did. We can disagree about the timing of it. But the way to solve this is the state code allows you to adopt an ordinance that allows you to prorate the tax year based on when the person's deceased. So I think that's the solution going forward, and we will bring it to the board at the January work session. The language, we've run out of time to advertise for January, so it'll have to be an action item for February. But staff is aware of it. I met with Ms. Hammock today. I researched it today, and we will bring this back to you for more discussion at the January work session.
Yes, sir.
My concern with evading, we'll get into the discussion, is I want to know who officially notified the county that this person passed away. If the family received a letter in 3 days, it takes longer than that to issue a death certificate. We got a
Okay.
problem.
That was also brought up by the family.
I don't think obituaries, and I don't want to throw anybody in the bucket, obituary is not an official notification of death.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Farmer, you got anything, sir?
No, sir.
Mr. Miller? Mr. Scares?
Chairman, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Mr. Warren?
Yes, sir, Mr.
County Administrator?
I'm not going to tie you up, but I will tell you this transition at the pet center went extremely smoothly. I went down there today. It smells different. It looks different. Our employees are smiling. Good things going on down there. Super happy with James. That's all happens for sure.
Mr. Attorney?
Nothing, sir.
Well, I declare this meeting adjourned.